Okay, good morning. It's May 5th, the brother Paige's birthday, if he was still around. It's Gary Graham and Jeff Graham walking through the warehouse for the first time here in Springfield, Vermont, after bringing the parts up from Georgia for the Graham Factory Parts. So we're going to start with Hollywood parts, and we're going to go all the way through the lineage of Graham, all the way back to Graham Brothers trucks. So Gary's going to follow me with a light. Hopefully we get some good stuff out of here. It's going to show you a general overview of the two bays that we have. In the back, we're going to go back and see some parts cars, some cars that are here for sale, some of our restored and in-process restorations of our own stuff. We'll go through all of the hardware. We'll go through all of the sheet metal parts that we have, the engines we've got. We've got a few things in a barn about 3 miles away from here where we first started that we don't have, but we'll talk about those possibly as we go through. So the facility is an old manufacturing plant in our hometown of Springfield, Vermont. What we've done is put together a section by section series of parts that are in relatively good condition, in relatively good shape, going through all of the various parts. These are Hollywood parts on the right hand side. You'll actually see radios and you'll see all kinds of stuff that goes on for sheet metal. And then down here we got a little bit more chrome related stuff. We got handles, we've got side handles, exterior side handles, we got all kinds of scripts and things that you see. We got some wipers, we got other kinds of body parts. Down here we've got some hubcaps, we've got a lot of door pieces for Hollywoods, we got some seat pieces here, moving back and forth the front seat. We got a little bit of chrome stuff, the window dividers that go between the vent windows and the regular windows. We've got some spears that go on the front hood. We've got an NOS radio there of significant value. We got some stuff for trunks. You can see some stuff for brakes. There's all kinds of door parts here. There's a bunch of gauges and water pump pieces. We got some scripts here in the front. We got kinds of brake master cylinders. Some shocks back there, top of a transmission. That's a lot of Hollywood stuff. Now we're going to turn around on the other side. Here on the top, we got a bunch of 6-volt headlight pieces. Inside that box is a full set of windshields. Down through here, we've got some horns, some air cleaner parts and pieces, miscellaneous parts, that sort of stuff. So that's kind of the Hollywood piece. I'm going to show you a little bit later the carts, the movable carts that we have with small metal bins and plastic bins that actually give us the ability to put the small stuff away protected. This is the start of the shark nose area. So we've got a bunch of shark nose parts that came to us from Utah. All of these parts came with parts cars and cars that are for resale. And you can see some mixture of sheet metal pieces, outside trim, steering wheel, starters, generators, fuel pumps, what's that other? Air cleaner and water pumps. Down here we have a plethora collection of superchargers. These all came off the shark nose parts. We got a nose here for 38. And then we go back to another spot over here in the corner. It's all shark nose as well. We've got these kind of sectioned out by stuff, and you can see that there's some glass pieces for the front. You got some glass pieces for the rear. We've got all kinds of chrome pieces that go for headlights. Gauges. Out of Georgia came gauges. We probably have 500 to 1,000 gauges for various and sundry cars, a lot of which are for shark nose. We also have the chrome pieces that go around the front headlights. All of those are NOS. Anything that came to us from Georgia is NOS, and anything that we picked up by other users, owners, those things are used and hopefully in great condition, and if not, certainly restorable. We got another shelf over here of shark nose. You can see in here, this is a miscellaneous section of shark nose stuff on the back side. We are now coming around the back area of this. All of these parts again came out of the Utah cars that we have. You'll see a head that's there. We have several heads. Gary, we have Hollywood heads, we have shark nose heads, we have Graham Paige heads, we have Blue Streak heads, we have 8-cylinder, we have 6-cylinder, and we're in the process of having them old wax sand casted by some folks in New Hampshire and in Maine that actually do that sort of stuff for any kind of car, but certainly we're going to do that for Graham. So that's all the stuff that's down there for shark nose. And we're going to turn around and go back to an area that we just walked through. That's the Cavalier Crusader areas. Here on this shelf, we have a bunch of Cavalier Crusader stuff. A lot of chrome related stuff there. A little bit more chrome related stuff down here, hubcaps. We have an air cleaner down there. We have some carburetors and horns. Stuff for the inside of the car, you'll see through here. We have a bunch of bumper bolts. This is the other bin that we have. There's some water pumps. There's some headlights. There's a coil up there. There's more of the gauges. There's more carburetors. A bunch of stuff for doors. A bunch of stuff for trim. And we certainly have lots of these. We have probably 500 of these kicking around in here. Crazy stuff. More. That's an exhaust manifold and some Cavalier Crusader hubcaps. Down here we have some exhaust manifolds. Over here in the corner, you can't see them, except in a couple of cases there's glass with channels for various kinds of cars. We haven't yet identified all of those, but we have probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 60 of those. Now we're going to go over to the Blue Streak area. All these shelves were put in place by us to make sure that we could kind of separate these out by areas. You're going to see there's some brake related stuff. There's a water pump there. There's another metal piece for the side of the engine. There's some various and sundry handles, starter, generator, water pump, water stuff back there. A lot more headlights, a lot of taillights, some really unique hubcaps, a lot of stuff for the inside dash. We don't know exactly what that goes to, but we know that they are Blue Streak wing windows. We've got some delete plates. We've got some more handles. There's all kinds of stuff down here that goes to 1934. This came in from one car that came out of New York State. And you'll basically take a look through here. We got a lot of clutch related stuff here, but we also have a lot of clutch plates in an area that we're going to show you in a few minutes. Master cylinders, generators, that sort of stuff. Obviously that's for the front of the hood. So if I walk back out and go around the corner again, we've got an area where there's a bunch of small parts that we've left in some rollable bins, and we can either protect them or we can actually use them beside a car. We've got some tool areas here that we use for the stuff that we have in the shop. We've got it set up at this point to be able to help us a little bit. These parts over here in the corner are actually for Gary's car. That's Gary's 1935 Model 73 four-door. All those pieces and parts are going to go on his car fairly soon. So Gary's around the corner here with a light set up in front of the Hollywood areas. We've got a bunch of parts in here, relatively small. All those things would be things that we wanted to protect. There's clocks. There's a bunch of other miscellaneous pieces for wipers. Around the other side, we also have a lot more small parts. You can see all of those sorts of things. Some of those are in boxes. Some of those are knobs for the inside of the car. There's some robe parts there, the chrome robe parts in the back. A lot of different gaskets, very miscellaneous stuff. That's actually the round thing with a bunch of holes in it for the supercharger. It's a connector piece. We have a whole bunch of gas cap stuff that would go on Hollywood. I'm going to go back around here, try not to fall. Pass by the Blue Streak stuff, going to another Hollywood bin. Bunch of stuff in the Hollywood bins, all small, all things that would be ignition related on the top. Some points. We got some headlight switches. We've got some glass pieces, carburetor stuff, all of that. So that's the Hollywood stuff that we have here. I'm going to go back to the Blue Streak area. Same thing. We got a lot of ignition stuff. We got some rubber parts. You can see as the picture goes through what we have in here. If you have any questions, please let us know. A lot of stuff down here has to do with handles. We have a lot of glass parts in various and sundry places. I'm going to walk back out to the front, and we're going to go to the... Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, Gary's corrected me. We're going to go back to the Graham Paige and Graham Brothers truck area. We've had these the longest. Our first car was actually a 29 Model 612. So a lot of the parts and pieces initially were for 29 Model 612. And you can see from all that, those are the big pieces. There's a bunch of smaller pieces as we go through here. Kinds of stuff. Those are all gaskets up on the top. There's a lot of stuff for outside handles and outside lighting holders. A bunch of stuff here. We have a dozen or so Graham Paige and Graham taillights with glass, without glass. We've got some stuff for brake linings. There's a whole bunch of chrome related pieces that will be here, nickel in some cases. More things that have to do with Graham Paige. Some dust covers, some brake shoes, and some of the emblems that go on the front of a Graham Paige car. We've got some various and sundry things here as well. There's a bunch of stuff on the wall. It's kind of a mishmash of stuff that we just wanted to hang up. And then we go to the Graham Brothers truck area. I'm sorry, more Graham Paige. Oh, we got another one. So we got a lot of lights, a lot of headlights, glass without glass, chrome without chrome, some dash plate stuff. There's a little bit of mixture of Paige in here. Had a gentleman with a 27 Paige. We found some stuff for him. We've got a lot of those unique 30, 31, 32 hubcaps and some aftermarket hubcaps that we had made many years ago for Model 612. Now we can go to the Graham Brothers area. We've got horns. We got half a dozen horns. We've got some more dust covers for Graham Brothers. We've got some headlights, stoplight for my fire truck. Some of this stuff is fire truck related as well for our 35 that we have. Some more ignition related stuff, headlight buckets, and then just a mishmash of all kinds of hardware, trunk hardware, scripts and emblems and Graham Brothers names all over them. And here's some stuff that I'm not really sure what that is. We have seats, we have rear fenders, we have rims for the old style tires and rims. We have pieces that would actually hold on the running boards. All those things are sort of in here in this area. Now I'm going to go back outside like I tried to do before and go along the outside wall. What we did when we first got here was to take a lot of the parts that were sheet metal related and put them on the outside walls so that we could actually have them in a place where it would be easy to see them, find them. We've got a friend, Mark Stryker. Hopefully he sees this. Mark, those are your items that are sitting here. We're going to try and catch up with you at some point. We have a fellow Graham owner, David Godsell, who moved from North Carolina to Vermont. This is his car in a little bit of a restoration process right now. Okay, this is going to be a little bit darker. Hopefully Gary can catch me at some point with the light. We have all kinds of stuff over here. We have steering rods. We have transmissions. Gary, we said T83, T83 and T86, and we have one T84 that's probably spoken for. We have some camshafts. Over here we have more superchargers and the crossover units for the superchargers and some of the attachment stuff. Those items there along the wall are all steering rods. There's probably 4 or 5 dozen of them. Down here we've got drive axles. Gary's got his upholstery for his car inside of these things. A gentleman in Danville, Vermont did an unbelievable job of his. I can't wait to see his car all put back together. This is more of the transmission units all the way down through here, more of the drive axle units. We haven't got all of them numbered. We know some of them, but we don't know all of them. You'll see the front side of this, but these are several shelves of Graham hardware. This is all new old stock hardware that came to us from Georgia, from American Vintage Parts. Transmission gears, all kinds of oil pump related stuff. Many to number. We've got some seals. We'll show you that in a minute. We've got a bunch of radiators for every kind of car that is made for Graham. We've got some skins, door skins. Those are probably Graham Paige or Cavalier Crusader. Some of them do have numbers on them. We've been able to identify them in some of the Graham Paige books that we have. You'll see that we have several of those. Over here, we have some new old stock leaf springs, some rear axles and some front axles. Those actually came in some of the older cars. That's a 1934 Blue Streak Model 74 or Model 68. We got them all numbered here. Got these tags so that we've got a pretty good idea. In some cases, they actually say Graham Paige on them. You can see the GRA upside down here. You can see the GRA, 31121 GRA. That's how we know they were Graham Paige. All those are relatively easy to find in the books because we have all that stuff. This is a 1940 Shark Nose. Our friend Scott Liljeberg from New Hampshire is an owner of 3 different Graham cars. This one is in perfect condition. Can't wait to see it on the road. He's had it for about a year now. Okay, we're going to go back up. This is our shipping area at the moment. We've got a bunch of stuff that we put here on hold in case somebody's asked about it. We got some rubbish to take care of in these things, these Gaylord bins, which is how we got all the parts here. We have shafts, we think is for probably a 6-cylinder Blue Streak. Okay, the shipping area again, we're going to keep all the stuff that's on its way out. We go back down through. This is a 1939, 1940, came out of Utah. Another 1939, 1940 came out of Utah. They theoretically are going to be parts cars, but if somebody wants to do a total restoration, they can certainly do that. Up here, we have some clutch parts. We have various and sundry yokes. There's a bunch of sectional things that we've got here. Some of them are seals, some of them are door items. There's some oil pump related stuff. These gears that you see, you'll see many of them. We in some cases know what they are, most cases don't. So as you go through this video, if you happen to be able to identify something for us, please let us know. If you happen to have a Graham number, that would be great. If you don't happen to have a Graham number, a description could then lead us back to some of the Graham numbers. Unfortunately, we believe we got about 15,000 parts from Georgia, and we'll probably know about 5,000 of the parts, maybe, and the rest of them we don't really know much about. You'll see some of these come with Graham numbers on them, the 5-digit numbers. We can certainly identify those in most cases. And I'm just kind of holding up my hand and showing you theoretically what's in here. We have a lot of timing chains, but there's really only 2 numbers, 414. 3. 418 is a third one, Gary? And there's
702.
702, okay. So I'll do those again, 414, 702, and 418. Those are the ones that we have. We have a lot of brake springs. We have
Those are valve springs.
valve springs, sorry, okay. We have all kinds of seals and stuff here on the bottom, tie rod ends, more sheet metal stuff, some more door stuff, some emergency brake handles, various and sundry parts through here, more door handles, and then there's some clutch plates down there. We have several clutch plates, different kinds, several door handles of different kinds. We go through here, pulley related stuff, more bumper bolts, and then we start to get back into miscellaneous things with seals, a lot of things that we don't know. We believe this is part of a transmission. We have stuff that looks like this all over the place. Those are transmission cases. They all have numbers on them. We have more seals. We have some yokes. We have some of these rubber parts for the engine related stuff. Inside of this box here are a bunch of filters for oil. We have hinges, spacers, more of the filters that I showed you up above in the other white box. Gears. We believe these to be 3-speed gears. We probably have 500 of them in different sizes, different shapes. We don't necessarily know what those are. Okay, I'll go down the other side of the facility here. These bins are pretty much as they came to us from Georgia. We have a lot of things in here. We have mufflers. We have mufflers with numbers. They come in the original Graham boxes. There's all kinds of Graham manuals that came to us. There's a bunch of sheet metal stuff for the inside of Shark Nose. As we go by here, you're going to see more of the bumpers. So if anybody needs a bumper for a Resto mod car. We probably have 300-ish of these bumpers as well. Scattered throughout here are some shark nose bumpers and some Hollywood bumpers. You know that's a shark nose because it's got Graham on the back. Inside of here, we have a bunch of gaskets. We know that the gaskets are very limited in terms of what they go to. I want to say some of the models are 80, 85, 90, 90A, or 80 and 80A, that sort of stuff. We have 42, I believe, these air cleaners. We have more gears in here. We have all kinds of springs in here. We have an entire bin of Blue Streak hubcaps that are either with
34 and 35.
34 and 35. Some have red, some have black, and some have no paint in them. Gives you an idea what they're going to. We have more gears, all kinds of miscellaneous stuff in here. These cars here, this is my Hollywood, 41 Hollywood that's pretty well restored. This is a 26 Graham Brothers truck. That's the fire truck that we've had for about 30 years. It's a 35 Dodge Graham Chrysler fire truck. I think we believe that that's one of two left. I think the other one is a non-profit volunteer fire department out someplace in the Midwest. This came to us from another Graham family, 4 brothers and their dad. This came out of Mississippi. What did we figure this was? 3940? No, it's a 38. This is a 38. Fairly complete. This would be one of those cars potentially that would be a car for sale. We have a Graham Bradley tractor, 38 tractor, standard with the wide wheels. This was the first car that I ever got. No, I'm sorry. This is the 34 Blue Streak, 8-cylinder, supercharged. We've actually sold the engine for that.
Transmission to it.
Yeah, transmission. In the middle here is a car that came to us out of Pennsylvania, 3940. Mostly there, certainly would need a total restoration, has the engine in it. This Hollywood came to us out of California. Gary and my family is the second family to own this. The first family owned it from 1941 until 2 years ago. They did all of the mechanical work to it. It just needs to have the upholstery put back in it and a paint job. We believe the rest of it's pretty well set. That actually is a car for sale. Under this blue tarp is a 1929 Model 612 two-door coupe with a rumble seat. That is our nephew Todd Graham's car. At some point that'll be finished, hopefully this year and next. And then Gary, you want to go backwards and we'll go to the back row. The back row are all parts cars. Various types of parts cars. However, one of them is a very unique 1935 Model 74 8-cylinder supercharged, very rare, very much similar to this that's right here beside us. That's the 34, so we got a 34 and a 35 at the same time. We're very excited about this. Gary, Model 75. Gary is going to probably wind up tackling this restoration in a year or two.
Yep.
We hope to have this around the family for a really long time. This shark nose came to us out of New Hampshire, a few miles from where I live. It's a 38. It's definitely a parts car, and there's various and sundry things on it that are in unbelievable shape, including some of these chrome pieces, which survived all these years. This is my first car, 1929 Model 612. Decided to part it out about 2 years ago. There are a lot of Graham owners that have parts off this car at this point. It was in pretty rough shape. It came to us from the Four Corners area of the United States, Farmington, Mexico. But there's still a lot of parts here, an engine, all kinds of stuff that's good. We also have another series of parts for this car that came to us out of Connecticut. Mike Keller and I, many years ago, split up a car in Connecticut. He took half, I took half. They're in great shape. These two cars came to us from Kansas. One's a 41 and one's a 40. Definitely parts cars. They have a lot of parts on them that are valuable, that have survived well. These really don't have good engines in them. This one has no engine in it. This one has an engine that's been exposed to water. So there's more parts cars here. You see the chrome on the side. Over here, Again, on the outside wall, we have put stuff up for rims and tires. We have some Graham Paige. We have some older Graham Paige wood. We have artillery wheels for Blue Streak Cavalier Crusader, lined up all the way down through here. In the back, we have a bunch of gas tanks. Gary's going to go one way and I'm going to go the other. There are half a dozen or so gas tanks out here. We have Blue Streak, we have Graham Paige, we have Graham Brothers, we have Hollywood. These are valve covers for the sides of engine. We have several of those. All of those are new old stock. It's okay. A lot of shark nose stuff came to us in relatively rough shape. We wanted to keep all that stuff just in case a pattern would help. You'll see Graham Brothers, that's a 34. We have some half bumpers here for Graham Paige. We have some parts and pieces for a 30 Graham. And the rest of this is all Hollywood. So we go down through here. That's obviously not Hollywood. That's probably a Blue Streak. Nose pieces, bumpers, fenders, front and back. Looks like some stuff for Graham Paige through here. The tops and the sides for the hoods. Some pieces, the metal piece that goes down the middle of the hood. The stuff there that actually holds the radiator to the firewall. This is the back end of that 35 that Gary's going to tackle someday. And we've got more running boards, some Graham Paige running boards, some Blue Streak running boards. I would say it probably stops at Blue Streak for that down there. And I'm going to let Gary go first. And we'll go down beside the tractor and finish up all the stuff that's along that outside wall. Those are more running board related stuff. Some bumpers down here for Graham Paige cars. We do have some rubber and some metal for the Blue Streak era running boards. Okay. That's pretty much it for the downstairs. We do have a mezzanine, and we'll walk back toward the mezzanine. There's some miscellaneous stuff in here, most of which is not really Graham related, some of which is. We had some of these parts. There were maybe mistake purchases along the way on my part, but there's a bunch of Graham things right in this area that actually came to us from various owners and some eBay purchases. So down through here, we've got some signs. We've got several of these genuine Dodge Brothers, Graham Brothers signs. I think we have 5 of them. We have some aftermarket stuff we found. We've got an engine for a 34. That's a fender for Gary's 35. Some of the stuff that we need in order to do our projects. These are the remaining parts to go on my Hollywood that are here, and that's the car that's over there. So if we go down through here, I'll just sort of span this again so you can see kind of what's in here. We have a total of about 6,500 square feet here in these 2 bays. One of the bays is a bay that you back down into. So if we really needed to have a tractor trailer truck come in and drop something off, we just move the stuff out of the way and go do that. And up here is the mezzanine area above our inventory room. We have got pistons and piston rings and bearings. They're all numbered. We pretty much know 99% of what's in here by number. We can do the scan. We tried to leave as many boxes with numbers in front as we could. We'll start to see them about now. The 5-digit numbers, these are all bearings as I'm going through here in this area. These still are bearings. We've got, I'm sorry, Gary? Crankshaft bearings, okay. So we got crankshaft bearings here, see all the numbers on them. Most of the boxes are half to full. So we have plenty.
There's valves in there as well.
There's valves in there as well, yeah. Now we start with the pistons. Same thing, all the numbers are on the pistons. We should be able to identify most of these from the Graham Paige books, from interchange books sometimes, Chilton especially. Again, these boxes are relatively full. More pistons. This up here on the top is actually a box of mohair that I bought many years ago for my original 1929. It's in great shape. There is a dimension on it. It's large enough to do a four-door car. So there's more pistons in here.
And then more sharp nose stuff.
And more shark nose, yep. So all of this stuff are all of the overflow shark nose stuff. Gauges that I talked about before. And those big boxes and small boxes are all gauges, oil, that sort of stuff. And we've got a lot of shark nose front headlight chrome pieces. They're all new old stock. Okay, here we have the seats that'll go probably in that California Hollywood that had the hood up on it before that we said was for sale. That's all the stuff that goes with that. And Gary, anything else you want me to talk about or you want to talk about before we end? You're set? Feel free to give us a call. We will post this as many places as we can to be helpful. And hopefully some of this is helpful with your cars. Bye.